Hey, it's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. We are glad you are along with us for another full 2-hour ride of automotive news and information. And
Yes.
a lot of people, Les, of course, are talking about some of the reveals this week. And one of them was the Volkswagen IDBuzz. We have talked about this for a long time. It is the rebirth of the Microbus.
Yep.
This is the production version.
This is a big deal. Built-in massive following.
Yeah, and the thing is, when will we see it in the U.S.? Well, you'll have to stay tuned for that. And one version of it you won't see in the U.S. We'll tell you about that. But then also, there was the return of the Integra, big vehicle for Acura that kind of helped build that brand. We'll talk about that. And then what else do we have? Well, let's see. We can talk about Mercedes Sprinter getting new engines and new all-wheel drive system.
And of course, another wrecked Ferrari.
Yeah, there's a wrecked Ferrari.
That seems to be an option when you buy the car. You know, it's how much mileage on it when you want to wreck it.
Yeah. Well, this one was going to be quite expensive to repair. We'll tell you about
that.
Yeah. Yeah, and a whole lot more coming up. So we'll even tell you about not one state, but multiple states that are talking about either repealing their gas tax or even giving you a rebate. So we'll talk about that too as well. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. We'll be right back.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right. It's already begun. Welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub, and as always, along for the ride and ready to talk about everything automotive is Les Jackson. How you doing this week, Les Jackson?
Excellent, sir. I'm cozy and warm inside. We have a storm running up the East Coast. you're going to get worse than we are, but nonetheless, doesn't matter because we have plenty to talk about.
We sure do, and we're going to start off with a vehicle that we've been anticipating for a long time, and I know a lot of friends have too. They're ready to put their money down. It is the IDBuzz from Volkswagen, and it is, well, see what the production version is going to look like. It is the return of the Microbus. They even have it in cool two-tone colors. They've finally taken the wrap off of it, but when will we see it on showroom floors in the U.S.? And you might have to do a little bit more waiting.
Well, we might. However, I might not.
Oh.
Because remember, the Audi Volkswagen headquarters is just 8 miles from where I'm talking right now. And I've been talking to our friends at Volkswagen over there, and they said they're definitely planning as soon as one is shipped, even a prototype is shipped to the U.S., it'll go into, they'll bring it into their big atrium lobby.
And you could check it out.
Invite a bunch of us over for lunch and an introduction.
Sounds cool. Well, let's move on to our next story. Pump pain relief. A large number of states are talking about temporarily, at least, rolling back or rescinding the gas tax. We'll talk about that one.
Idea.
It's a lot of states going on. Yeah.
Good idea. And we're going to, and it's not our fault. we're gonna have an as the Tesla turns.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Should Elon Musk shut off all Russian Teslas? Well, some say no. Someone sent an owner a bill also for $600,000 of charging time. Well, now
a little problem with the billing.
I don't think it costs that much.
No, a little problem with the billing.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. Apparently, he could shut off all of the Teslas in Russia if he wanted to, but we'll talk about if that's a good idea.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, and all that and more when we get rolling on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We'll also talk about the return of the Acura Integra. Remember that, Les?
Absolutely. You know, that's really one of those cars that is underappreciated.
Yeah, well, we'll give it some appreciation after the break on Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We'll be right back.
VW.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Les, he's Fred, and we can't wait. Well, we're going to have to wait, but we'd like to not wait to get into the Volkswagen IDBuzz. I mean, we've been talking about it for like 2 years, and it's the Microbus. It's the 21st century Microbus, electric. Looks very, very reminiscent. I think they've done a perfect job of recreating the old Microbus without making it look too dated.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves these things.
Yeah, flower power, baby.
Absolutely. Imagine the young families buying these instead of SUVs.
Maybe. Somebody will want it into a SUV.
Yes. No. We don't know what the range is going to be. I think it'll be a lot.
Yeah, we do know it will have 201 horsepower, which is
plenty.
And it will have 1,121 liters of space, or 39.6 cubic feet of space.
Okay. Let's say 40.
Yeah. It will have rear-wheel drive. Probably, I think eventually they'll have an all-wheel drive version, don't you think?
Probably.
Yeah. You get some real cool colors like candy white and starlight blue, energetic orange, and baby leaf green. I know that's one of your favorites. It does have that two-tone look. To me, two-tone vehicles are great. I love them.
I've always loved them.
And
my whole life. And I grew up as a kid with two-tone cars of the late 50s, and I just loved seeing them drive by.
Yes. I think it's going to be great, but here's the rub a little bit. I would have liked to seen the IDBuzz Cargo come over here, where it has no side windows, and I think that would be cool to redo as like a customized van, a modern customized van. We're not getting that because of the chicken tax. You know what that is, right? Where they don't want you bringing in trucks from outside of the U.S. Now, eventually, it might be built down in Chattanooga, but who knows? But right now, I think these are all going to be imported. And then there is a short wheelbase model and a long wheelbase model. We're going to get the long wheelbase model. Problem is, I don't think this is going to happen for us until at least 2023, 2024.
Well, ordinarily, I would disagree with that prediction, but because of shortages of everything, I think you're right. I think whoever the powers are, the decision people over there, they're saying, hey, look, we're going to bring this out, but let's supply everything we need for our existing models so we can sell as many as possible, and then we'll hold off the introduction of the IDBuzz. But at least we've proved that it's coming.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to prove it's coming because they've been talking about this for a long, long time. The other thing, Les, I wonder, will this van in the U.S. be able to overcome the minivan stigma? Now, there's a lot of good feeling, but remember, if you have a family, you may not be of age to remember the Microbus.
Well, that's true. But whether you're of age or not, I mean, who is not going to fall in love with this look?
I think it's cool. I think vans are always
cute.
A box on four wheels, the best way to haul stuff. You know, like I say, I would love a tricked out two-tone cargo model with the side windows blanked out and just one seat in the back, or maybe make it into a little camper. I think that would be fun, don't you?
Well, I do. And you know, I just think it'll appeal. People who have minivans, I believe, would love to have like a really stylish, young minivan instead of the image that's out there, which is kind of stodgy.
Yeah. Hearse-like.
I'm just hearse-like. Unactive lifestyle looking.
Well, one of the things that concerns me looking at the controls of the dash, it looks like it's got the digital dash.
Yeah.
That was terrible in the GTI. It looks like the exact same controls.
Yeah, I don't like the digital dash, but you and I aren't their target market.
Well, we'll talk more about this rebirth of the Microbus when we come back. I'm Fred Staub. He's Les Jackson. You're on Cruise Control. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Cruise Control. Les and Fred here. As usual, if nothing else, we are dependable and always on time. Which, hey, that's important. Anyway.
Are you going for a job interview or something? I'm dependable and I'm always on time?
Listen, you just have to stay out there.
Okay.
Anyway. Gasoline has been in the news for the past week or so. Boy, has it been in the news. People are screaming.
That's an understatement.
And so some of the people screaming, frankly, don't deserve to be screaming because they're driving $100,000 vehicles and dressed in natty clothing, and they're
Natty.
just, they're spoiled.
What have you paid? I paid $4.39 the other day.
$4.29
Wow. Okay.
so far, and it's going to go up.
Yeah.
In the short run, it's definitely going to go up.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing: the people poverty line and below are suffering tremendously.
Sure.
These are people that use our delivery person for the Washington Post newspaper. I know what they make, and it's not up above the poverty level, and they have to use their car to deliver the paper. So many states are already making quick decisions to shut off temporarily the gas tax. And some states have very high gas tax. Do you know what New York is, Fred?
It's almost 50 cents a gallon.
Okay, it's about 38 cents here in Virginia.
Wow. Okay.
But that's money.
Significant.
Yeah. And
well,
I think we'll go. So I think this is a great idea. Most well-managed states have a surplus at the moment.
Yeah. Well, let's
look
at who's involved here. Governors and lawmakers in California, Maine, Michigan, New York, Tennessee are considering rolling back the tax or rescinding it temporarily. A coalition of 6 governors from Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, and Wisconsin also sent a letter to the U.S. congressional leaders asking them to lift the nation's 18.4% per gallon federal tax. So you think in New York, it's 48 cents a gallon plus almost another 20%. You know, you're nearing $1 a gallon in tax, right?
And that's very significant for the people who right now are highly stressed.
Yeah.
If there were a way to make it cut off at certain income levels, I would love it. But there's no
how
way
could
to
you do that at the pump, though?
You could.
No.
You could. And frankly, I think the Congress, if they can wake themselves up after the 3 martini lunches and dinners with the lobbyists, I think they'll probably pass pretty quickly a stay of the federal tax for what, 90 days?
Well, Michigan's talking about suspending the 27.2 cent per gallon fuel tax for 6 months.
That's a lot. I personally don't think the fuel price crisis is going to last that long, but I've been known to be wrong.
Yeah. But I think it's good, and it's proactive rather than saying, well, can't do anything about it. Can't talk, we can't tell Putin what to do. So I think it's a good thing, and I think they should think about it. And there's also something in California where you would pay the tax and then get a rebate, which is interesting. A little bit
anything that helps people in these dire circumstances. I'm all for it.
And let's remember, I know it sounds simplistic, but everything that moves by a truck has to burn diesel. Diesel costs more, and guess who pays for it?
That's right, you and I. And by the way, the diesel price in all of my local gas stations is just a shade under $6.
We always said, I remember growing up, my dad was in the diesel industry, and he said it's always been an artificial, number for diesel fuel because it is less refined. It is
right.
It would be like paying more for the base level car than one with, the fancy stuff.
Exactly. Or, tap water versus sparkling water in a bottle.
Yeah. So I never understood that, and I'd like to understand why they do it, but it is cruder fuel than gasoline. It has to go through less processes. So
that's true.
Yeah. But
I'll find out.
all right, Les Jackson, you have an assignment, a cruise control assignment.
I'll find out.
Let's talk a little bit about something that's a little bit cheerier, and that is the Acura Integra. Do you remember when that came out?
Wow. 90, I'm going to say 94.
Okay. Well,
Thereabouts.
it's coming back. It's coming back, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting for a lot of people to see the Integra again. And you know, I have memories of this. I think it's one of the cars that put Acura on the map. Wouldn't you say?
Definitely. The original Acura cars, the Integra was instantly popular.
Yeah. And I remember that's probably one of the first brand Acura brand vehicles that I remember seeing, because I was like, "What's Acura? What's an Acura?" Yeah. You know, remember when that all started happening and Lexus came out, and I was like, "Why are we making all these sub brands?" But now they're ingrained in there. It is a good looking vehicle though, for sure. And I think you know, people are going to be excited about it. I like the A-Spec model that gets a really, really nice interior. That's pretty cool stuff. And of course, it comes in that Acura blue. But here we go again. Will people be excited about a performance four-door sedan?
Well, I will.
Okay, then we'll build it.
That's it. Well, and you will.
Yeah. I think it's
two.
nice. It's a nice sleek exterior.
Yep.
It's got a great interior. It's sporty. You know, yeah, I would. It comes in Integra, A-Spec package, and A-Spec with technology package. I don't know though what the market is for sporty. It's a 5-door actually, so a 5-door liftback. Those have never been popular. Here in the U.S. By the way, the output is not huge. 200 horsepower from a 1.5 liter turbocharged inline 4, and you can get one of these things, Les. A close ratio 6-speed manual with rev matching and limited slip diff.
Well,
It's got those extra pedals and the shifty thing in the middle.
I'm guessing less than 50 people will order that. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, it is. You think back to this, where we would get super excited about vehicles like that, and we're still excited about it. But now, it's like, I don't know. I don't know whether it's a wise choice to bring it back, or they should have brought it back as an SUV. It's kind of hard to say.
well, obviously they're selling it in other countries.
Yeah.
So I guess they figure, well, we'll sell it in America too. And they were designing this thing 3 years ago,
Right.
when everyone thought, well, gee, the people will still be buying cars.
Yeah, they'll always buy sedans, especially those with manuals. So,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
when we come back, we'll have an As the Tesla Turns. Should Elon Musk shut off all the Teslas in Russia? I don't know. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staub and Les Jackson with you. We're glad you're along for the ride. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twizzler. No, I don't know what that is. That's a candy. I don't. Yeah.
That's right. Western Union.
Speaking of Twizzler or Twitter, Elon Musk. The folks on Twitter are asking Elon Musk to disable every Tesla in Russia. Now, he's not suggesting this. They're asking him to do this.
Well, what do you think?
Well, he's been helpful by sending the Starlink terminals that he promised. He also made supercharging free for electric cars in Ukraine, so people can, charge up for free and get going and get out of there. But several users have said on Twitter that he should shut everything off, disable them all, and that would be a good way to add to the sanctions, basically. Now,
well, except now you're sanctioning the Russian people.
I know. I know
the individuals, not just the population. No, they own the cars.
Would you want to do that as a business owner? Because I wouldn't like that. Like, hey, you better step in line, otherwise I'll shut your car off.
No, I don't think. I think that's too aggressive on the part of an American targeting individual Russians. I just think that's wrong.
Well, Musk responded that the company would only do so at gunpoint and affirmed his position in being a free speech absolutionist. And he'd also...
Good for him.
Yeah.
I have one caveat to that.
Okay.
If Elon has records on which oligarchs own Teslas, shut them down.
Yeah, like if Putin was escaping from from Moscow and a Tesla, you could shut it off, right?
Right.
But I don't think you think of it as a business. I mean, eventually this will clear, and he'll want to do business in a free Russia without certain people around, hopefully. And he'll you don't want to. That's just a bad scene to shut off people's cars. I guess he could do it, really, couldn't he?
He could, sure. He could just, go right to the VIN numbers and shut down the ECU.
Yeah. Well, I think the wise choice is not to do it unless
I'm on his side.
Yeah. So this is another part of our As the Tesla Turns. Tesla mistakenly sends an owner a $600,000 charging bill from the supercharger. It was a Model 3 owner in China. He got a bill for over $600,000 at his local charging station. And that would be enough to buy 5 of the cars.
Wow.
And he highlighted the issue. He was being banned from the supercharging network for not paying.
Well, I wouldn't pay either.
And they said it would, this was according to something in a thing called CN EV Post. They said Tesla was aware of the issue, and it was something with their back-end system. And it obviously, he did not get that. he did not charge his car that much. He would not be able to have done it. So it's
I'm not
just
sure,
a funny story.
I'm not sure the life of the battery could actually absorb $600,000 worth of electricity.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I don't think it could. Any single battery could do that,
unless he was, charging everyone's vehicle in his neighborhood. I don't know, but I don't think he was. It was just a billing error. But it is funny.
A mess.
Imagine opening that bill. I would just be
funny.
so laughable that I would just say, "Well, I'm not paying that," So, Another story from the folks over at Ford. Ford's Mustang Mach-E has been doing so well that they're shutting down orders for certain models. They had 4 levels of trim on the Model E, including a mid-range premium and a California Route 1 model. And now they're shutting down the mid-range models, so you can only get the Select and the top-of-the-line GT because they just can't build anymore.
Well, and of course, at a slightly modestly increased price.
Yeah.
And by modest, I mean huge. But yeah, you can't blame them. If you're limited in what you can build, then build the stuff that makes the most money.
Yeah. A Ford spokesman talked to Cars Direct and said that the order banks for the premium and the California Route 1 models closed on February 25th, and they said they'll let you know when you can order a 2023 model in those levels. Hey, they've got a hit on their hands, but you got to be able to build them and sell them while someone's standing there with cash, throwing cash on the table, saying, "Hey, I want one of these." And it's hard because you think about this. In this case, the entry level might not have things you want, but you may not want the GT. It's just
you can always
not performance one.
But you can always not buy it. You can be patient.
That's true.
And wait until it is available.
That's true.
Hey, but if someone in 1964 had told me that in almost 60 years people would still be waiting in line for Mustangs, I would have just I would have laughed so hard.
It is a strong brand. So.
It sure is.
Another strong brand, Les Jackson, is Ferrari, and of course they made their first plug-in hybrid model, the SF90 Stradale. It has a twin turbocharged V8 and 3 electric motors, and is capable of sprinting to 62 miles, 0 to 62 miles an hour in a mere 2.5 seconds.
Yes.
But there's one of these is listed on one of those salvage sites. You ever watch those salvage videos where people go through the salvage yard? They call them carnage videos. And they go in there like, hey, look at this. I bet I could make this run. Oh, look, it looks like there's a terrible accident inside here, so we're not going to rebuild that. But I find them interesting. You think, like, is it worth rebuilding? Well, this one, the Ferrari SF90 Stradale, had 180 miles on the speedometer. On the odometer.
We can buff that out.
It had a violent collision, ripping the front bumper, the hood, the driver's side headlight to pieces. The windshield was shattered, and mirrors were knocked off. So the question is, it's terrible, and I'd love to be listening in on the phone call to the insurance agent. But somebody kind of went a little bit above their skill set on driving, I believe.
Yeah. This is...
So this is a salvage site. They say the cash value is $1,034,888.
Right.
And the estimated repair cost is $999,999. It is basically $1 million repair.
Well, that's right. I mean, I can tell you right now, the thing needs an entirely new tubular frame.
But one of these TV shows are going to buy it, and they'll go out and buy some angle iron and weld a front end on there. Hey, here's the front end from a old Chevy Nova. We'll weld that on, and we'll Bondo it up to make it look good.
I mean, I don't believe it would really cost $1 million to fix it, but I'll bet it would cost every bit of 500 or 600,000.
Yeah, I mean, I think someone could fix it because they could look at what's bent and all that. But if there's any special tools needed or the parts, you know,
Yep.
yeah,
Well, the body. Remember when the gas monkey guys
I remember that.
rebuilt that wreck? I remember when they got a nose piece, the body panel.
Mm-hmm.
That alone was $30,000.
Yeah, that's your cost right there.
So just everything costs so much because so few of them are made.
Yeah. Hey, we've got another segment coming up of Cruise Control, so stay tuned. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. Plenty more to go. News you can use. Oh, God. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I were just talking about a whole bunch of stuff over the break, but you want us to talk about the Blazer, specifically.
It won't have a problem like what we were talking about. We were talking about catastrophic engine failures, actually, and this one won't.
Right.
Now, the current Blazer is a pretty popular model, but Chevy has announced that they're going to be bringing out an all-electric version of it, the Blazer SS, the first electric performance model from Chevrolet. And it's going to go after the likes of the Mustang Mach-E and Tesla Model Y. It's funny. It's like I've always said the Blazer had a lot of Camaro in it. So now we're going to have, once again, the battle of Camaro versus Mustang.
That's right. Now, the SS, of course, was the Chevy for many, many years, was the performance version of various models. And they were distinguished by having the bow tie with the red center. So the question is, will this have a red centered bow tie?
A flow tie.
Will it...
You know what they call a flow tie? That's where it's just the outline of the bow tie and lets the air go through. Right. I don't think it blocks that much air, but yeah. I'm
just, not that this I think is the most important thing about it, but I'm just curious. The SS models were created by Dr. John Moss, the Chevy's long time performance director. We knew him.
Yep.
And I think it's great to carry that on.
Yeah, and what's interesting here is this won't be the only. They're of course going to have the Silverado EV. This will be their hot rod SUV, and then they're also going to have what I think will be a pretty slick looking Equinox EV if the renderings are correct. And these will be more than just an Equinox with a EV drivetrain dropped in. These will be basically a new model, very, very slick looking model. So I think that's cool. I think that is really good. And, of course, the current model, as I said, pulls a lot from the Camaro with style. It's got two-tone paint. It's got a lot of the cues from the Camaro inside. Basically, the Camaro will live on with some of the elements of the Camaro when it goes away, which it eventually
that's right.
will. And it will live on, right?
It will. It always had good elements. Of course, we've talked about it many times. The current Camaro is just tough to see out of. I don't think it sells particularly well, but it's a great platform. It's a great model.
Well, talking about great platforms, Les, of course, we've talked a little bit about one of the popular things was van life, right? Van life, living in a van. You could work anywhere as long as you had an internet connection. And the van of choice is often the Mercedes Sprinter van. And we have some news on that. They have a new all-wheel drive system and new turbo diesel engines. They have 4 cylinders. All the vehicles are 4 cylinders now. The 3-liter turbo diesel V6, which has been around for a long time, that used to go, I believe, in the E-Class and a number of other vehicles, will not return in 2023, kind of following what a lot of manufacturers are doing, getting more power from less cylinders, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And why not?
Well, why not? And this is going to be a 4-cylinder turbo, of course, because virtually all diesels are turbo. And it will be available with up to 208 horsepower. The V6 was rated at 188 horsepower. So you're not only getting better fuel economy and more power, but a smaller package too with less weight. So pretty good deal there, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And the Sprinters are super popular. My next door neighbor's in the video production business. He has one, sits here in the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, never fails.
Yeah, yeah, cool stuff. And they're all going to get a 9-speed transmission, which will be new. And new for 2023, a full-time all-wheel drive system that replaces the part-time four-wheel drive system. And it can send 50% of the engine's torque to each axle. They're not cheap. Base price $38,800, and then of course you can get different roof levels and different roof heights and different wheelbases. But if you look around on the web, there are a lot of videos about converting these things into campers, and some people do it better than others. But it's kind of fun, and with that very efficient engine, I think that's a big thing right now, right?
Yeah, I like them. I've actually only tested one, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Of course, the Russian Grand Prix was Formula One Grand Prix was canceled because of what's going on in Russia and their attack of Ukraine. Now, Team Haas has said they were releasing Nikita Mazepin, who was their Russian driver, and getting rid of their sponsor, Uralkali, which was a fertilizer company that their driver's father owned. I wonder how he got that seat.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, and they sent him packing with words like, he's just not good enough to be a Formula One driver. Ouch. That's a dent in your ego, isn't it?
That hurts.
Yeah. But there's some talk that he may be replaced by Emerson Fittipaldi's son or Michael Schumacher's son, both of which are out on the Formula One circuit. They certainly have a little bit more Provence than this guy that was cut, right?
That's right. This guy didn't win too many friends.
No, he didn't win friends. And for a team to say, you know what, we're not only getting rid of you, we'll get rid of the sponsor too.
That's right.
Yeah. But yes, Fittipaldi is the grandson of two-time F1 champion Emerson Fittipaldi. And of course, Schumacher is the son of Michael Schumacher. Mick Schumacher is the son of Michael Schumacher. So
yeah,
there's some real lineage there.
Some great legacies.
Yeah. And the Haas organization says they also believe the 22-year-old Schumacher could be a global superstar. And by the way, he is good, too. He is a great driver. It's not like he just has a great last name. And for a beloved championship driver, he is a great driver too. So, but imagine that being kicked out. We don't want your sponsor's money, and you know what? You're not all that behind the wheel. So
yeah, well, of course they said, he's a hazard.
That's even worse than saying, "Hey, you drive." It's like being called Captain Slow, but now you're a hazard. So you're dangerous.
You're dangerous to everyone else.
Yeah. Well, you can't buy chops. You can't buy skill. You can't say, "Hey, my dad owns the fertilizer company, so
you have it or you don't have it."
Apparently, this guy don't have it, and he won't have it. So we'll have to see what Team Haas does. But I think this could be a watershed moment for them. And by the way, I think it could be great to get a great driver in there, and they'll probably start winning. So. Hey, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control Radio. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com and all our social channels. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.